Hey, everybody, and welcome to the December edition of the Life Sciences Virtual Trailblazer Group. We're so happy you're all here today. But mostly, I'm happy and excited to introduce Rajesh to you, who taught me a bunch of things when I spoke to him. So I just could not wait for him to get on the call today. It was nice to catch up before this formal part of the meeting. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you need to join us live because you too would have been able to see the gorgeous, glorious pictures of Rajesh's daughter and learn about all of the amazing things that Raksha is doing in London. But that is for the folks who attend live. Rajesh, I'm going to hand this over to you so we do not waste any more time so we can get in to learn more about surveys, forms, and assessments inside of Salesforce.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. You can see my screen, correct?
You
Yes.
bet.
All right. Thanks, and good morning, everyone. So today, what we are going to talk about is something that keeps admins up at night, right? Data security, integration failures, and preparing for AI adoption, right? As Anand says, I am Rajesh Sunarkar. I am one of the co-founder of Survey Vista. I have been in Salesforce ecosystem for 15 plus years, helping organizations build secure, scalable data collection systems, all inside Salesforce, right? What we are covering today isn't just the theory, it's a practical architecture that will help you protect your data while setting you up for the AI future. A little bit more about me. Having been in, like I said, having been in Salesforce ecosystem for 15 plus years, I still see the same fire drill everywhere I go, right? Someone senior needs the feedback data and suddenly you are exporting the data from different systems, reconciling them in an Excel and trying to match the data across those three systems and give them the unified report. If you are an admin, I'm sure you know this pain. You have built the reports, you have wired up the flows, but the source data lives outside your org and not easy to get into your report. Today, I want to show you different ways. So let's see how you can unify those different types of data or different use cases inside Salesforce. My goal isn't to sell you today, it's to change how you think about feedback data and answer your questions. And if I do that, the rest will take care of itself. Okay, all right. So can you pull feedback data by tomorrow? How many systems you have to go? How many exports you have to do, right? Type in chat if you are doing this type of activities so that I can learn a little bit from audience on what they do. But doing all these things without unifying them and without putting them inside Salesforce has a lot of hidden costs. So let's look at what are the hidden costs you will run into. Right? You have been told for a long time that silos are bad. People are saying that, hey, going through the data silos is not a good thing, right? Probably you might be evaluating many survey tools already, right? You may be already running one that integrates with Salesforce through a managed package or API sync. So you might be already experiencing this pain. What I want to do today is make it concrete, right? Show you what fragmentation actually cost in your day-to-day and why 2026 is the year this decision matters. Not because I say so, but because where Salesforce is heading with Agentforce. I'm sure all of you are hearing about Agentforce and AI, right? So, and on top of that, life science compliance is also getting more and more complex, right? It's not like a lot of compliance requirements are coming in. So because of all these things, you need to make sure that your data is unified and staying secure. All right. Now, this is one of the interesting states I ran into, right? So average enterprises manages about 897 applications and only 29% are integrated, right? Now, this stats is interesting, right? So that's an average enterprise statistics and not the life science where you will also have GXP validation requirements. You will need to make sure that 27 CFR Part 11 considerations are done in the applications you use. You are going to manage multiple vendor relationships across different CROs, sites, and sponsors. So for the admins in this room, think about how many connected apps you are managing, how many integration users, how many sync jobs running, and each one of them is a point of failure, right? The fragmentation isn't a technology problem, right? It's a risk problem hiding in plain sight. Your quality and compliance teams are all getting audited every time or every months or every few quarters, depending upon your size of the company and needs. Now, every audit cycle, they feel the pain, right? That they have to collect the data from different systems and prove it to the auditors that they are being compliant and secured for whatever regulatory requirements you may have. So these are the things here definitely keeps me up at night. I'm not sure about you, right? Every one of those integration points is a place where data can leak, your sync can fail. That means your reporting and your insights to your higher management fails and so on. So why native matters, right? So why do you need to go for a native applications and unified your all the surveys, forms, and assessments types of data, right? So one of the thing what I observed it at we were at the Dreamforce, we small kind of exhibiting there, and I talked to many customers and executives who stopped by at our booth, and one of the common challenge everybody was talking about is security, right? And I'm sure you have heard about a lot of security breaches lately. Right? There were like 900 plus Salesforce customers who were affected with Gainsight attack, right? So this security breaches lately, whatever is happening, and that's definitely was one of the common topic at the Dreamforce speaking to executives, right? And that's an uncomfortable truth, right? The external apps creates a data silos. It will introduce sync delays and it will introduce compliance risks that you may not realize until it's too late, right? After a breach happened, it's announced. If you realize after that, it's too late. Right now, you have to fix whatever issues you went through. You have to fix your reputation and so on. So the key thing is when customer information leaves your Salesforce, right? You lose the control. Not only you lose the control and security risk, but you also lose the context, right? So when you are looking at the data, like feedback data or your site visit feedback data or any type of data you are collecting, if you are just reporting them independently without the context, it doesn't give you as much insight as looking at data within the context, right? That, hey, I'm visited this site. Now this site is running this type of trials and so on. And then the feedback is this from this audience that gives you a better insights and value versus just independently looking at the feedback, right? So native apps, basically one of the key advantage, it inherits Salesforce security models, right? Whatever setting rules you have set up in system, whatever field level securities or even field level encryption you have implemented, that can be inherited by default without doing any additional works. That means you will get all the regulatory compliance certifications out of the box like GDPR, HIPAA, and so on. And most importantly, you will also maintain a single source of truth, right? So your CRM data and any other data you are collecting with surveys and forms like feedback data or some site assessments data, and everything lives together, which can give you better customer insights, right? And when you get a better customer insights, you can automate certain actions on it, and that will help you drive your business growth. So let's talk about native architecture, right? So effectively, native architecture starts with creating a centralized forms and survey response object model in your Salesforce and connecting them to your existing Salesforce record so you can easily correlate them and get integrated insights, right? Once you have everything native, you can have the built-in the data validations, definitely depending upon which system you use. In our case, we are talking about Survey Vista, but any other system, if it's a natively built, or even if it's not a native, you will have a built-in validations and automations. But with the native system, optionally, you can also have additional flows for validations or automations or flows for approvals without writing complex code, right? So that gives you a better kind of insight, the benefits of native system. So plus you can, like I mentioned earlier, you can have a field level securities, you can implement the data encryption so that the private and sensitive data like social security numbers or even whatever the health information you are collecting for your trial enrollees or patients, they are protected and only people who has the right authorization can see those data. And of course, with that, you can also enable audit trails and field history tracking. So you can also see who is accessing the data, who is making the changes to the data, and so on, right? So then once you have this native architecture, right, it can be scaled from small nonprofits to even large life science industry organizations where they need to manage tons of data versus small data sets. Now, I'll keep this thing brief. I know you are not here for the ERD diagrams, but the insights is important, right? So when you have surveys, forms, and assessments using the same data structure, it gives you better insights. Like you can define a parent object that holds your assets, which could be survey, form, or assessments. And then you will have the child objects, which are holding your questions. And then transactional objects which captures your question responses, and then those objects can have a lookup to your existing records like accounts, contacts, and cases, or even custom objects like sites and visits, whatever you manage, right? So this is a metadata driven architecture, right? So you are not writing a lot of complex apex to add a new question types or create a branching logic in your survey or form journey, right? It will utilize record types to distinguish, is it a survey versus form versus assessments? And because it's a native, you can utilize flows to trigger certain things, or you can fire platform events to trigger certain things based on the data you are capturing from your survey or forms, the respondent users. So that gives you basically a single set of schema, and you can deploy it for a variety of use cases and utilize that single source of the schema and data. Now, one of the customer we have, European Society of Cardiology, right, as our customer, and we are proud of that. They have tens of thousands of professionals who are helping in the industry to the patients or in the trial processes and so on. They run their feedback and assessments program natively in Salesforce using Survey Vista, right? They have many compliance requirements. So one of the key reasons they selected us was because we are native, right? Which gives them compliance and security out of the box, right? Now, there are tons of use cases I have seen in life science industry, like site readiness forms that fit directly into your site object, right? So you don't have to have forms hosted somewhere else and the object sitting in your Salesforce. You can have the forms hosted inside the Salesforce and automatically linked to your site objects. You can have monitoring visit surveys, triggering field update on your visit records, right? So you can see that which visitors are happy after their visit versus which visitors were not happy, and so on, right? So everything gets into the Salesforce now, and that gives them the better insights. Now, before we get into the demo, right, the key thing is with the natively, you set the same security model, the same audit trail, and same configuration what you have done for your other Salesforce data. And because the privacy and security is important in life science industry, right? You want to make sure that whatever the data you are collecting from your customers, partners, or your sponsors, everything is secured and safe within your infrastructure, right? Because once you lose the trust, it's not easy to regain the trust. Now, why Survey Vista, right? And we'll go through the demo a little bit. Now, the way we say it is the Survey Vista is a feedback management and data collection platform entirely built on Salesforce. Now, a lot of other tools out there will also claim that they are native and all, but you need to look at the 100% native aspect where all the data will get into your Salesforce, not going into their third-party infrastructure and then getting pushed to the Salesforce, right? So that means whatever you collect with Survey Vista, either using surveys or forms or assessments or even in-app experiences, right? So we have a way to provide in-app experience widgets kind of thing. everything will live in your Salesforce org. You don't have to worry about configuring external integrations, no data syncs delays, and no other system to maintain. That means you can also utilize your existing Salesforce resources and skills and have them work on the system versus trying to learn the third-party systems and so on. All right, so let me just give you a high-level quick demo, and then we'll cover a few other things in the slides. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat or Q&A window, and we can take them at the end. All right, so let me move on to the app. You can see now, you see my Survey Vista app, correct? So here is our app, Survey Vista, which is sitting in your Salesforce. So if you see the URL, it points to the post.com platform because it is inside the Salesforce. We have a bunch of tabs available to work with Survey Vista, all the surveys things and my assigned survey. So we have a concept of assigning survey to your authenticated logged in users if you are collecting data from your authenticated users, and then the survey responses and so on. And then bunch of standard Salesforce objects or custom objects, whichever you want, you can attach to your view, right? Here you will see all the surveys, standard list views you can create to put your surveys into different categories and so on. To start a new survey, you simply click on the new, and similarly, you can create a new form out of it and so on, right? And once you create a new survey or new form, we let you select what are you creating, like creating a survey or form. We recently at Dreamforce released another product called Agent Vista, which basically is a copilot powered by Agentforce technology. I haven't enabled in this demo org, otherwise it can let you generate surveys with the prompt, right? And there are other AI features available. But let's say if I'm creating a survey, I click on the survey and then I can create the survey from scratch. I can use the design template. So the concept we have it, let's say for all the clinical trials you are doing, if you want to have a same design and branding used for one of your trial sponsors, for any survey you create for that sponsor, you can create a design template. So anybody creating new survey to collect new feedback or new type of registration data or anything, it will utilize the look and feel and experience, right? So it can give you better branding and all, and you don't have to redesign that from scratch. But let's say for this exercise, I'm creating from scratch, then you can have a different navigations like a full page survey versus one question at a time versus multiple pages or sections kind of thing. And I can select this one, and let's say I'm just going to type in some name and click create. And once you create the survey, it will take you into our survey builder, we'll call it, right? So here you can easily build the survey, right? So if I want to, let's say, start adding content to my survey, there are a few concepts we have. We have landing pages where somebody clicks a link in your email or on your website or anywhere to respond to the survey or form. They land onto a page where they will see some kind of messaging. So you can guide your user that, hey, we are collecting this type of data, or we are collecting the patient history information because of so and so. And that way they can feel comfortable that what they are providing you and why they are providing you that data, right? And then we have a thank you page where once they finish the survey, they will get a thank you message and so on. But here inside, you can start adding questions or content of the survey. So I can create multiple sections if I like. And then within the section, I can start adding questions. I can say, hey, add questions. We provide bunch of question types and different question types within those categories. We have 40 plus question types, right? So I can simply add a, let's say, short response question. And for the sake of it, I'll add a couple of more. Let's say I want to just create a yes, no type of question. And I want to get, let's say, a multiple choice question, right? So once you start adding the questions, you can definitely edit them by going in the edit mode and then change the question text here. You can also personalize them using Salesforce data. So that's another advantage you get with the native application, where I can say, hey, if I'm sending this question to my recipient, either a contact or a user sitting in the Salesforce, I can copy some merge field and I can add them into the questions to personalize those questions, the questions or survey or forms I'm creating for my audience, right? Now, depending upon the At the question types you are editing, you will have a bunch of design options you can add. So let's say the design option will make more sense here in this type of question. So let's say I am using this yes, no question. If I go in the design option, I can say, hey, instead of yes, no, I'm going to put it as a switch kind of thing, right? So, or you can say, I'm going to display this as a radio, right? So you can, depending upon your needs, you can quickly change the look and feel of those questions, and that way you can design the survey the way you want to present the survey or forms to your end users. This type of things can probably make more sense in this type of, let me just add a NPS question, right? So let's say you are just collecting a how satisfied or are your customers going to promote you or not, right? So you can have this NPS type of questions. And again, here you will see the different design options. Like sometimes some people think that having a color coded NPS will bias the user's response. So you don't want a color coding, then you can disable the color coding. Similarly, you saw the design options. So if you don't like squares, you want to use circles, you can change it and so on. So very quick way to your question designs, and a lot of tuning available, point and click, right? Even a lot of color coding and so on, right? Now, once you design the individual questions, you can go in the whole survey design mode. So you will see the whole preview and all. So for this exercise, let's just go into this existing survey here, right? So if I go in the design options here, I will see the whole preview of my survey, and I can start designing my whole survey using the different background for your survey and using different color combinations for your sections and questions and so on, right? And then you can quickly preview your survey, right? So I can quickly preview it here, and I can see this is how my survey will look. If I want to preview it, how it will look in the iPhone or the mobile device kind of form factor, I can see that preview. I can see the preview on my tablet and so on, right? So this is how you can easily kind of design the survey to collect the data. Now, once you have the survey designed, right, we have something called send. So how do you send your survey, or how do you host your survey as a form on your website? So there are a bunch of ways you can send the survey. You can simply take this link and send the link to your audience, either using external email system or Salesforce emails, and whatever way you want to send them, right? Or you can simply use our interface and type in the email address, or upload them from a file and then send the survey to a bunch of email addresses and so on, right? Then similarly, you can send it to contacts. You can even publish the survey on Slack. So we have a Slack integrations and so on. If you want to embed survey as a form, you can come here, take a piece of code, and then put it on your web page, and it will be hosted as a form. Or you can even optionally host as a digital experience site page and so on. So various ways you can send the survey, we call it, but it's exposing your survey to your audience, or exposing as a form, or even assessments, right? And one of the other thing you can do it is you can do an automation, right? So you can have a flow sending the survey. I'll briefly touch record lifecycle maps later, but we have also a way to automate triggering the survey based on the events in your Salesforce, right? So just to give you an example that, hey, if I have a case, let's say this is my case, and I have a case in this my demo org, we have configured automation where once the case is marked as a closed, it will trigger a survey, right? So right now, if I see my survey, Vista surveys related list here, there are no surveys. But as soon as I close this case, based on the flow-based automation, it will trigger the survey. So it triggered the survey, and it sent the survey notification to the survey recipient. Now, in this org, it is configured to send an email notification, but you can optionally utilize SMS or Slack notification or different channels-based notifications. Right? So you can see I got the email about the survey. I can start responding to this survey right from here. So I can say, hey, I am unsatisfied with whatever you have done for me for this issue I reported and so on. And once I initiate the survey from the email, I land into my survey responder page as a survey respondent, right? And I can start or complete finishing the survey. Now, one of the feature we have it is, if let's say if I'm the user and I don't like to respond to the survey, I click in email, I come here, I close this thing, it will still capture data for you for at least for this one question. So you can embed the most important question or a data point you are trying to collect in the email. So even if the respondent doesn't complete the full survey, you have the most important data point captured, right? But here, let's say I'm the good guy and I will finish the survey. I can respond to those questions, and I can put an open-ended comment here, right, to show the example. And I can say that the agent was not knowledgeable or something. And one of the concept we have, like I mentioned about thank you page, and also once somebody submits the survey, you can have a thank you page which will put some message for the respondent, and then optionally you can redirect to other website pages or wherever you want to take your respondent, right? So this is how the user will complete the survey. So authoring the survey, the way we kind of advocate is getting the good data and getting better insights. You follow the collect, integrate, we say integrate, but it's a no integration kind of thing, but it will automatically move your data onto the Salesforce records. And then once you integrate the data automatically, you understand the data and then act on the data. So what so far we have covered is how to design the survey and how to collect the data. Now, just before going into the next step, just to show you a few variations, like this is another survey we have created for one of our customer, and you can have a single page survey if you like, kind of thing. You must have noticed the different language also. So we support multiple languages and so on. This is another example where we have the feedback survey for the automobile industry. And again, it supports multiple language, but not only that, we support right to left languages also, right? So if I go next here, you can see the English language, but if I change it to Arabic, I'll see the right to left thing, and then I can start responding to this survey. This is sometimes like in life science industry, you want to collect a complex or more set of data points. So this is another sample survey where I'm collecting a medical history from a user with different sections. Now in this one, all the sections are displayed in a single page, but you can have multi-page survey where each section will be displayed on an independent, its own page kind of thing, right? And then we have a way to configure so it displays a path on the top, so user knows what progress they are making and all. Right. So different ways to design your surveys and forms, right? So that's how we help you create surveys and design surveys. Going back here, like I said, there's no integration required. So if I go in the detail here, right, and if I reload my record, you can see all the responses I typed in the survey automatically flew in this case record, right? So this is an example, simple, but you can have this is a site visit record, or this is your trial record, or whatever record you want. It automatically also transferred the comment here, right? And then what we did is we ran the sentiment analysis on this comment, right? So you can see that sentiment is negative because the comment is negative that, hey, your agents are not knowledgeable on resolving things, right? So this is how the data will flow directly into Salesforce based on the response mapping we have it. So we call it response mapping. So here you will go and configure the response mapping, right? So that's how you will get the data in the Salesforce. Now, once the data is there, how do you analyze and get insights, right? So one of the things we have this analyze tab, which is our built-in analytics, where you will see all the aggregated metrics about all the respondents of your survey. So you can see if you are using feedback surveys, you can see your aggregated NPS score or average CSAT score and so on, right? And below that, you will see individual question level charting and so on, right? And like I said, we run the sentiment analytics on open-ended questions, and you can get advanced analytics by going in here, and you will see how your open-ended responses are shaping up and what insights you can get, right? So you can see aggregated from open-ended questions, 66 people are positively writing something about you and this many negative. You can see the trend over time and all. We do some word map saying that what are the key words utilized in those open-ended responses and all. And then what words or entities are utilized in positive versus negative way and all. So it gives you a good insights by utilizing our built-in analytics reports. Now, sometimes depending upon your use case, this may not be enough for you, right? There are also other advanced things here, but I'll skip that. But sometimes if this is not enough for you, because the data is sitting in your Salesforce, you can utilize Salesforce reporting and dashboarding, or you can even, if you are utilizing any BI tools like Power BI or Tableau, the data can automatically flow to your Power BI or Tableau using your existing integration with those tools. You don't have to write anything new for that, right? Now, this is the example dashboard we have built using data collected with Survey Vista, utilizing Salesforce reporting and dashboarding. So you can build this type of nice reports and dashboards with Salesforce infrastructure. Right? So that's how you will analyze the data you collect, either using our built-in survey metrics or utilizing Salesforce reporting or other BI tools. And then once you get the data, how do you act on the data? So one of the things we have it is where you can utilize our response mapping to create automated actions, right? So let's say somebody gives me a bad feedback. I have created a response mapping rule here, which is saying that, hey, create a case for me when somebody gives me the neutral or less feedback and utilize this data coming from survey and put it on my task record here, right? So it will create a task, it will assign the task to right stakeholder so they can work on it, right? So this is how you can create an automated actions for people to work on it. The other thing we have it is advanced notification, we call it, right? So you can create, of course, you can utilize Salesforce Flow to do the similar thing because data is sitting in Salesforce, but we give you easier way to create inside our app. So I can go in here and I can say, hey, whenever somebody gives me the response and if the CSAT score is less than 3 and the case owner is so and so, I'm going to send a notification and send the email to this person. Or you can also select recipient based on the related records to your survey response, right? And so that way right people gets notified and so on, right? So this is how easily we can let you act on the data you collect with Survey Vista, right? There are other advanced features here available. We don't have a lot of time, so I'll skip them. But one of the key thing we have it is, I think I have a couple of slides there, so I'll cover there. But a lot of advanced features are available where you can utilize Survey Vista for a variety of use cases, right? So that gives you a quick high-level overview on what Survey Vista is. Let me just go on the slides and finish a couple of slides. So like I said, we have advanced features. We have something called Survey Vista workflow, right? So you can create, we call it data review and correction workflow. So if you are collecting, let's say, certain types of data, could be just the clinical report kind of thing, right? And somebody is responding to that survey, and then you have reviewers. The reviewer can look at those the survey question responses, and they can flag certain questions that, hey, I need more information for these questions, or here you did not upload the proof or image or photo of that site as a proof kind of thing. You send it back and they can respond, and also you can utilize the workflow to make sure the data is complete the way you were expecting, right? And then there is another thing we have, it is the checklist based review, right? So not only just making sure the data is correct, but you can create a checklist and you can say, hey, somebody can go through this checklist to review this data and see you want to approve or reject that data using a checklist kind of thing. So those are the functionalities available here, right? The record lifecycle maps, I did not open it here, but here we have the record lifecycle maps where like you utilizing Salesforce Flow, instead of that, you can come here and you can create record life cycles and you can say, hey, when new customer comes in, here is the stage we have, and this is what we want to do here, and fire some survey when certain condition meets and so on, right? So the advantage of this is you don't need to learn Flow, so your business users can easily do that, and it can offload admin on those repetitive tasks, and admin can focus on other things. Right, so that's the record lifecycle maps functionality we have. And we have some quizzing thing where you can quiz your audience on variety of assessments or quizzes you want to do, right? The many organizations uses Survey Vista, right? And one of the key things they use Survey Vista is, or one of the key reasons they buy Survey Vista is because it's a powerful platform, gives you a lot of rich features built in, and it's a native, right? So it keeps your data within the Salesforce ecosystem, right? Because the data is sitting in Salesforce, you get a unified view of your data with your other data. So it gives you rich insights, and you can take automated actions also, or configure automated actions to work on that insights. And though, of course, it gives you the robust security and compliance things. We offer affordable pricing with non-metered things. So we don't charge per response or those kind of things. You get they're like non-metered pricing. So you don't have to worry about scaling and utilizing it for the variety of other use cases. And of course, we do provide great support. You can see our App Exchange reviews, and you can definitely get a lot of information from other users, right? From the App Exchange reviews, we have 200 plus 5-star reviews there. All right, a couple of closing slides, right? So the key thing here is from data to action to AI, right? You will be able to create the a lot of the clean data with Survey Vista, right? Which in the AI world, the one of the key driver for the AI to work is the data, and the clean and unified data you create in your Salesforce will give you a way to utilize the AI efficiently. Right? So key takeaways are, right? So you should try to unify your surveys, forms, and assessments use cases in a single schema, right? Definitely put them in one platform if possible, right? So that way you don't have to worry about integrations and exports and so on, which will give you unified data, single source of truth, right? You get the data in real time, you can make it auditable, and the data is AI ready. And the one decision you can make now that will pay the dividends, right? Get your feedback data inside your Salesforce org, inside the trust layer, which you have already established with your customers, and where it can actually work for your users and your customers, right? So you can take better decisions. All right, so I think that I covered a lot of things. We have the lot of knowledge base and Survey Vista Academy on there. We do offer a premium edition because I believe in premium. You can start quickly for free, and then as your usage grows, you can expand and so on, right? And if you like to speak with me anytime on this type of the challenges, I would love to connect on LinkedIn. Right. So that's what we are. I think I am done with the presentation. We can go in a Q&A. Let's see if there are any questions. I haven't been keeping eye on the chat or Q&A.
I think one, Sam said, Survey Vista is natively built on Salesforce, which clearly helps from a security and audit standpoint. Where do customers still need to be careful from a PHI or GXP compliance perspective?
Yeah, so if you whatever compliance you get with Salesforce, you will be able to claim the similar compliance with the Survey Vista because the data goes in your Salesforce. We or Survey Vista team doesn't have access to any of your data. Data is not going in our infrastructure anytime, right? So if the Salesforce infrastructure gives you GXP compliance, then yes, you get out of the box. The PHI and all, like I said, if you are using Salesforce encryption or Salesforce sealed mechanism to protect your PHI data and all, you get that same thing out of the box. One of the things we have it is when you create a question, we have a way to flag it that, hey, this question is collecting PHI data, and we also have some protection that who can see that question response in analytics and so on, right? So that also we provide on top of what you get out of the box with Salesforce. All right. Any other question? Let's say, what is the next one?
We have one from VJ. How does Survey Vista leverage Salesforce sharing to ensure survey results are visible to the right teams? And what is the sharing model that prevents that cross visibility, for example, between regulated use cases like clinical and commercial?
Yeah, that's a good question, right? So we, out of the box, we provide different permission sets who can do what with Survey Vista, right? So you can have like survey admin or manager type of permission set, and we have survey responders and all. Now, if you have multiple groups using the Survey Vista, we have a way to configure that so you can define different groups and you configure certain authorizations using our documented process. then you can compartmentalize. So let's say you're creating a survey for your HR, like employee feedback, and so creating survey for your customers. You can have two different groups, and then HR group can see only their surveys and the data collected with those survey, versus your customer success team can see data and surveys collected using their surveys and so on. So there are ways to compartmentalize across groups. You will have to go through some configuration. It's based on the Salesforce role-based and criteria-based configuration. There is no external configuration you have to do, but you will define some groups and then configure and add certain attributes on survey records and the survey response records.
That's great. Great questions. This was wonderful. It was a powerful showcase of the application of Survey Vista. And I'm sure everyone is also thinking of multiple applications. I'm thinking about patient engagement and patient reported outcomes and the different ways that could run. But we are at the top of the hour. So I would say please reach out to Rajesh. His link is in the chat here. We will also put it in the description in our YouTube channel. I'm so thankful everybody joined us today. It was wonderful to see you all. We do have plenty of openings for our 2026 speakers. So if you built something cool you want to talk about, you want to assemble a panel, anything that you have that centers around life sciences and Salesforce, this is your group. I'm just here to help facilitate it and make sure that we have somewhere to go all the time. So reach out, let me know if you've seen a speaker who was really cool in another user group that you're in. Tell me and I'll find them and I'll bring them on, because I want to make sure that this is a valuable space to you. Thanks to everybody for sharing today. Thank you, Rajesh, and congratulations again on your daughter's beautiful wedding.
All right, thanks. And thanks for having me here. It was good to speak with the audience. Yeah.
You too. You too. Thanks, everybody.